invitation was sent to me by TimeEdit for you to share briefly with us for about 30 minutes, I think, your software with regards to the management of student information.
That's right.
So, so okay, at the academic we have about, I think, how many of us? There's like 15 or 16 of my officers, but
Good.
unfortunately not all of them can join. So I think the one we have here is our officer that deals with student intake for undergraduates, our officer that deals with the certification of the students. We have our officers that deal with our international office. So and we also have our data officer, which is actually quite important. So okay, I think because we don't, I'm assuming that the others are not here because they have some other engagements. So I think you can just start
Thank you.
and with your presentation, introduce your team, and then we'll go on from there, I think. So please, the
Very
floor is
good.
yours. Yeah.
Very good. And how do you pronounce your name? Erman, is it?
Yes, it's just Irman. Yes.
Erman, you are the under the registrar office or yourself?
I'm actually the director of the Center for Academic Management here in the university.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good. Very nice to meet you and to the rest of the team also as well. Now, I understand we have about maybe 30 or a few more minutes than that. Let me just get straight to the general presentation for this. First of all, very good afternoon to everyone. And today, actually, we wanted to discuss about how we can actually potentially advance UKM into the Future on Cloud for Academic Operations platform. On the call with me, I just want to do a quick introduction to the team. Not everyone is here on my side, but my name is Trevor. I'm the Chief Business Officer for Edit. We're based in Singapore. We are the representative for TimeEdit. And of course, we've implemented many projects across Southeast Asia, Singapore, and Malaysia. We have Robert Yon. He's actually calling us, I believe, from Europe now. He's the head of Asia Pacific for TimeEdit. RJ, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I'm very keen to get to know you and let's explore what we can do for you, possibly, of course.
Very good. We have Sunuza on the call also as well. She's our strategic business operations lead, as well as Maya, who's doing the sales follow-up for us as well. All right, straight to the point. What does TimeEdit do? We actually, let me just go into slideshow mode. We actually offer 5 different kind of pillars of service, academic operations services to the universities. The first is curriculum management, right? We start with the most important, which is actually to set up the curriculum structure and all that. The second one is workload management. How do you plan for your teachers? How long are they teaching? How many working hours, part-time lecturers and stuff like that. The third, which is the core of TimeEdit, is timetabling and scheduling. So I'm not sure, Erman, how many timetablers are here or who's involved in timetabling. We will talk a bit about that because that's one of the core strengths of what we do. When you have a very efficient timetabling system, that goes into resource management, room booking, and of course, publication reports and analytics. So that's why we call it academic operations platform, right? We are the market leaders in Europe, very much now leading in Asia also as well. As you can see, I think we have now 200 over customers with 1 million over users that we're timetabling for, from La Trobe University to University of Malaya. We'll talk a bit about that as a case study, as well as the different Singapore universities and European universities also as well. We have 1 million users across the globe, over 1 million. I think now maybe even coming closer to 2 million. Everything's on cloud. We are a cloud-based solution, a SaaS solution. So we can actually be scheduling tons of this information and retaining this independently for each of the universities that we set up for. All right. The reasons why a lot of universities really are thinking of using us and have switched over to us is, number one, we offer an end-to-end suite because we understand the requirements of the universities. We know straight away a lot of the things that they're looking for. Is an infinitely customized workflow. So especially for UKM, a lot of customers tell me, like, there's no way your system can accommodate what we need because everything for us is unique. And the answer is yes, we can, because the system has been designed so that we can customize everything, every field, every things that you need to schedule or even need to factor in. All these things are customizable and customized according to your workflow also as well. Automation is very important across the flow. We're trying to automate everything to reduce human redundancy or human mistakes. The fourth one, of course, open for API integrations and is built on a secure, scalable cloud also as well. I'm just going to skip this slide, but go into this one. We did a state of scheduling quite recently last year. I think we had about 200 universities participate in that, if I'm not wrong, RJ.
Yeah, over 200 replied in the questionnaire,
Yeah.
and we also saw over 50 interviews.
Yep. And one of the things that we asked 200 leading universities was a very important question. What is your team aiming to improve? Because we wanted to find out what are their challenges, what are the things that they're focusing on, what are the trends that's happening for top universities. And a lot of them, if you can see on the top, responded they needed a better timetable for students. A lot of universities are competing for students now, and the demand for students and the number of courses that they want to take is ever increasing, making it a lot more challenging for timetablers to actually schedule. So better timetable for students, better adherence to a curriculum. That means you need to have much more curriculum flexibility, better room utilization. A lot of challenges that we're faced with for the Malaysian universities is that they have a lot of rooms, but they do not know whether they're actually fully being utilized or underutilized, right? Sometimes some of the rooms are so popular, and Erman, I see you nodding your head. Sometimes some rooms are so popular, but nobody knows whether they're actually being used or not, right? More efficient scheduling, better scheduling for staff also as well, right? If you actually talk to the staff, a lot of times they say, wow, you schedule me from Monday to Friday, but then it's just really all over the place, right? Increasing course unit availability and improving allocation for students. So a lot of this became very important for a lot of the school registrars to actually look into improving. One of the good case studies was University of Malaya. We actually went live with them last year. And this was an interesting exercise. if you're familiar, has about 30,000 full-time equivalent students from 20,000 graduates and 10,000 postgraduates. Not a small size, quite a decent sized university, right? One of the more bigger universities in Malaysia. 14 faculties, right? From arts and social sciences to sports and exercise science. One of the challenges that they had was, how do I unify all this scheduling? Because none of them were actually sharing resources. Everything was done very manually, right? So they actually had to have the course coordinators send in all their requirements, but none of them were able to actually coordinate how to efficiently use resources. So some of the challenges that they told us, they didn't have a functionality for automatic generation. A lot of it was very manual. So they actually had to get all the data from their faculties. And then after that, they had to troubleshoot that, re-enter the data into some scheduling, right, with a very complicated algorithm and formula. And then, that spits out into that. But that led to a lot of limitations in how they schedule. They could not perform a lot of things. Like, for example, they wanted to put padding, they wanted adding additional time, they wanted to make sure certain lessons fall within a certain time frame. They couldn't do some of that. They were locked into their system, basically. So this was one of the challenges they faced. The second one was also that they were having a lot more flexible curriculum, a lot more module codes, and so that so scheduling of lectures became more complex also as well. The third one was the exam team. So they have two teams, one big timetabling team and another exam timetabling team. And one of the challenges was that they could not schedule their exams early enough. They wanted to schedule the exams earlier, but because of the data, they can only finalize it from the 12 lecture week. So these were some of the challenges that they faced. Besides, of course, it was a very, very old timetabling system, and it was not relevant to modernization of the university, right? So what we did for them over the course of 6 to 9 months was to be able to help them to do it clash-free without module conflicts. We coordinated between multiple facilities because now everyone can actually see the system and can actually do the timetabling themselves, right? So you offload some of the tasks for other timetablers to do. The third one is ease of scheduling with the correct data. Now you had very clean data that's going in that they could schedule, and of course, real-time publishing of data. Now, obviously, the schedule you see here is a bit crowded, but obviously you can actually simplify this a lot. But we just wanted to show you some of it. We'll later give you a quick demo of the system so that you can actually have a better appreciation of what the system can actually do. The other thing that they improved was also the responses for the undergraduate. If you see on the right here, it positively impacted the increased registrations and the activation of registrations records. The reason is because they could publish a lot of their schedules and their class calendars a lot easier. The students were happy, and then of course they could complete their module registrations a lot faster also as well. So that's one example. Another example was UTP. And we also recently went live with them, and they actually had about 8,000 students with 300 staff. And what the challenges that they had was they had manual scheduling inefficiencies. They could not properly resource allocate, limited flexibility, and lack of accessibility because their system was based on-prem, and they could not access this on the cloud. So they actually had to come to the office to use the system to do the scheduling, right? So a lot of limitations in their previous system. The fifth one was that they also had a lot of delay in synchronizing the data also as well to the thing. And what they wanted to do for the improvement was to actually optimize the scheduling, which saved a lot of time for their people, improve accessibility, and maximize resource utilization. And also the fifth one, be able to integrate with other student management systems so they don't have to re-enter the data. So we were able to achieve all this, besides having improved access, data insights, and less administrative works. I'm going to pause here, maybe ask Erman a few questions. Right now for UKM, what scheduling system are you using? Is it an in-house system that you have built?
I might be wrong, but I can always double confirm with my officers. If I'm not mistaken, at the moment we have an in-house we built our system by ourselves. So
Right.
it's betul apa udah?
Ya betul, Prof.
Yes, yes. So it's I mean, just briefly, UKM has always been a stern believer that we have to develop our own systems because we understand what we're doing. So at the moment, a lot of our systems are self-developed by our own developers. Just briefly, to give you a heads up, one of the things that we have, one of the biggest challenges I think that we have at the moment is we have a dedicated system for dedicated thing, which is going forward something that we don't want to do because we don't really want to take the time for one person to fill out multiple systems to do different things. We want
Yes.
one system that could integrate everything so that we only have to fill out everything once.
Very good.
So that's one of the challenges. But all of our systems that we have at the moment are self-built.
Self-built.
Yep.
Okay, very good. I do want to share a bit, and maybe even RJ, you can chip in on this. This is a fun topic. And the question, even one or few of the universities ask us is, should we build our own timetabling software? Now, let's start with this. A lot of the universities that we're working with, and we do work with a large number of universities, they are very similar to what UKM is thinking, right? They don't want to build one system that does all because in that way you limit your ability to scale, right? And that's a big problem. So a lot of times they have different systems that are talking to each other, integrated with each other, from student management systems that they build on Oracle to building management systems, digital signage, reporting, online teaching, learning management. The reason why they adopt this kind of plug and play approach is because different companies are very good at different things. Like for example, Oracle and PeopleSoft, or even Illusion, they're very, very well known as very robust, very mature student management systems that have gone through a lot of rigor, right? So they're not systems like I just build one time and then I don't do anymore. These are companies that invest heavily in making sure that that software works and scales with the university. All these systems that you see here, including TimeEdit, well, most of them, specifically TimeEdit, are heavily customized. So at the end of the day, you're not getting a one-size-fits-all. You're still getting, in a way, a bespoke system, but it's customized for your university. And we've found that that's the best scalable model because the university, let's say, for example, UKM, you leverage on the improvements of all the other universities. I'll give you an example. When you see TimeEdit, we have so many customers. We have actually 1.5 million, users that are across the globe. I just want to show you this particular slide. For example, here you have so many universities that are enjoying the software. Because it's a SaaS solution, if we make improvements, let's say we choose La Trobe, if we make improvements to La Trobe, all the rest of the universities get the same improvements for the software. So that's the reason why SaaS type of solutions have been very popular, because the company themselves independently improve on it at a very high level and modern scale. Whereas for the normal university, if you develop your own thing, you normally have to have a lot of resources to do that. You have to worry about IT security. You have to worry about how do you upgrade the software? Is that going to be adaptable to new type of software? So TimeEdit does all that because it works with so many universities. It needs to be that flexible, right? Giving it that flexibility. It also gives a lot of scalability, and it also gives a lot of benefits to the universities that subscribe to the system, because if one has improvement, all have improvement. The system is, so recently we launched version 3 for our software, and many of the universities benefited from that. RJ, do you have a comment on this?
Yeah, certainly. So if I look at institutions that have historically developed their own timetabling system, probably in the past that was a very good idea because it really fitted their situation. However, universities are also continuously, let's say, moving. So they are also changing processes. They are also changing the way they teach. So, and well, the benefit for TimeEdit is that we can follow you without basically offering you new software for it, or without basically developing something new for you, because the flexibility of the system helps you to make that possible. And of course, there is so much best practice in our system because, well, we are leaning on, let's say, over 200 clients who come with 200 ideas from 200 institutions. So it's not just one institution, but over 200 institutions with very smart ideas, which helps well, as what Trevor is saying, that helps every institution again to do their work even more efficient, better, nicer, and better for the student.
Very good. So I'll just use these 3 slides, and then I'll just show you a bit of the system. When we talk about an academic operations platform, regardless of the type of university, they're 3,000, they're 2,000, all the way to 100,000 size, they generally have this type of operations that go on, right? From curriculum management to workload planning to resource management, scheduling, and exam, right? So this is the heart of it, right? Because you actually manage all your resources in one particular thing, and that's the heartbeat of that. That has to be extremely secure, extremely optimized, and efficient for the entity, for the university. Of course, then you have your student portals, which are the front end, and then your reporting matrix and stuff like that. Most of the time, our clients take on the central part where you actually have the heartbeat of the scheduling. But other things, like for example, University of Manila, they have their own student portal. So we just integrate the timetable to whatever they're doing. We push the data there, you know, or they have their own way of registering for classes. That's not a problem, right? So this system doesn't require you to have, I need to have all these modules. You don't. You can actually slice it according to what you need. And normally, our recommendation is, because our software is so battle ready in regards to scheduling for so many faculties and students, this is normally where they start with first. And then after that, they integrate into their existing system. So for example, if you already have a system that kind of does your curriculum management planning, you don't need to get one from us. You just actually integrate that into the system so that you can actually schedule. It's the same for the student management system, right? So this is how TimeEdit is structured. It's very flexible. It doesn't make you replace your entire system. It doesn't. You can actually do it in slices of pie, you know, in that sense, making use of its efficiency in certain areas. So what is it efficient in? You have your students. So there are 3 stakeholders for every university. Your students, which is basically, I have student preferences and registrations. I don't know how UKM does it, but a lot of polytechnics and universities like when we're talking to Taylor also as well, everybody is pushing towards where students can make more choices about what they want to study, even electives, you know, and even the date of the class that they want to attend, right? So that makes it, again, a lot more complicated to schedule because you need to take a lot of these considerations and preferences into play also as well. They want to have personalized schedules. I want to feedback also as well. The student wants the ability to feedback that I'm not happy with this particular class. So all this becomes a stakeholder by itself. Then you have your expert users, which is Director Erman, your team. You have your management team, your course scheduling team, your course coordinators, and then your teachers and lecturers also as well. And the last one, of course, you want to also answer is the staff, to make the work of the staff a lot easier. They know which classes they're teaching, how many hours they're teaching, their own scheduling preferences. So they say, look, I can only be blocked from Monday to Wednesday. Don't touch me out of those days. And the schedule doesn't have to remember all these conflicts. The system remembers all these constraints. So that is the benefits of getting a real comprehensive enterprise system. It looks into more than just the expert users. I just need to schedule. It looks into the student experience. It looks into the staff experiences also as well. So basically, it's done across one database. So you're actually seeing a general workflow. Now, every university is different. But in essence, you do your planning for curriculum at the back end, right? You have your systems that does that. And that's translated into then, of course, many universities collect their timetabling data. What is timetabling tabling data? I need to schedule 15 classes for practicals, for 10 for lectures or stuff like this. This is normally very manual. For TimeEdit, we can have automated the whole process where you can actually collect the data automatically from the faculty, and that timetabling data is actually translated straight into the timetabling machine where it can be scheduled. All right, so that's something quite effective. But if you don't have that, that's what you generally would do. You collect your data, and then your timetabling team starts to actually, okay, look at the teacher, when are they free, which room is free, and then start to manually allocate based on that. You don't have to do this. This is a whole new way you can actually optimize your resources. Then, of course, the last part is where you are able to publish your timetables, and then, of course, you have reporting and study evaluation. All right, I'm going to go straight into the system just to give you an understanding of how comprehensive the system. Now, I'm not going to do a full demo. We can always organize another session, but this is just meant to give you a kind of overview of the system. I'm actually going to be touching on two modules at the beginning of this. Maybe I'll take about 15 minutes. I won't take too long. We'll touch on core as well as viewer also as well. Okay. Is that okay, Aman? We just show you a bit of the system and show you how it works. Okay, I see you nodding. Great. Now, if you have any questions, please just type it in, and me and RJ can actually reply on this. Now, you're seeing a very, very interesting interface right now. I'm going to walk you through everything. First, on the left-hand corner, you actually see the views. Now, the thing about TimeEdit is that everything can be customized. So you can actually customize every view according for your particular faculty or department or something like that, right? So for example, here is a view that has recurring weeks for semester 1 in 2024 to 2025. So it's a very interesting view. I'm going to use this as a demo, but the views you can actually set, many different types of views. All right. So on the below, you actually see here is your different types of reservation modes. Right now, I'm clicking timetabling, and you can actually see it being very detailed, right? You have your module offering, your activity, but you can have something also very simple like room booking also as well. You can actually just book rooms only. You can book lecturers also as well, or anything you can actually book. All these things, including exams also as well. Now, you can actually see that this exam setup is a bit different, that you can actually see some gray areas because for exams, you don't block during certain timing on Friday. You can allocate for prayer. You can allocate for lunch also as well. And that's a bit different from that. So you can have different reservation modes depending on who's using the system at any time. One cool thing, if you notice, if you look at my HTML, everything's on the cloud. as long as you have a laptop or a computer with a mobile access, you can actually access the full database. You could be typing away on the beach with a laptop. As long as you have an internet connection, you've access to the full system and capability. Of course, there's security because not everyone can just log into this, but this just shows you that you can this is how flexible the system is. You can have multiple screens and you can actually show yourself all the multiple different types of configurations that you can have. Multiple timetablers can work on the system at the same time also as well. All right. On the right, you actually see a reservation list. And the reservation list actually captures all the reservations that you have made. It actually archives everything. It keeps a log. If Erman, you make a change, it actually says that you made this change at what time. So I'm just going to click something. Right now, you see that the whole screen is empty. I'm going to click one of the modules, and all of a sudden, you start to see it being populated. So the calendar is a smart calendar, meaning that it's an inverted calendar that shows you any conflict that is related to what you're interested in booking. So for example, what I clicked was this particular module called MID 1001. So the system thinks for you. It says, look, you're interested to schedule for this module. I need to tell you what are the other modules that will have a potential conflict if you were to schedule on other days. So for example, if I try to move this booking to, let's say, an earlier slot, let me just click here, close the views. You can actually see the conflict control working. You say that two objects are already booked, 001, 0016. What the system is telling you, without you having to think too hard, that two lecturers, which is actually your 00129994 and 001179 are being blocked. You can't use them. Or if I try to book in another slot, you can actually tell you that the room is booked. So this is how the system actually is able to build its logic and algorithm in helping you to manage the conflict. You don't have to actually worry about that. How do we do that? Let's go into a bit of details into the booking itself. You can have multiple fields. So for example, for UKM, you say, look, I have so many different things than other universities. That's not a problem. You can actually have multiple faculties that you can put here. Multiple fields can be allocated to the faculty. For example, this is the faculty of medicine. You can have different things that you are defining it with, making it related to different primary fields also as well. You can have a field dedicated for modules also as well. Right now, all these are important because this actually allows you to actually use the data very optimally and sensibly. So you see, this module is basically basic medical science that you have, right? And you have your Malay description, your EV code, your weightage for continuous assessment, your exam duration, progressive credit. All these things are very useful when you're actually scheduling. And then you have your module offering. You can actually put more details that's connected to the module code, like the module offering code, which is basically this module is being offered in 2024 for semester 1, year 1 students or something like this, all right? And of course, you can even set the number of students that is available for the course. So you know how many students you're being scheduling for that course also as well. You can set different activities for the reservation that you're booking. You can also set even different lecture days that this is available to be booked on. So for example, this is very unique that you can only book on lecture day Monday. So you can actually see if I try to move this to a Tuesday, it doesn't allow me. And it's quite easy to actually make changes. So for example, if I make a change to change it to Monday to Friday, I can now book it on any other day of the week. You know, it's that simple to actually structure. So you can actually create a lot of these different type of constraints that will help you to actually do your booking and your planning for scheduling. So this is an example. Now, I just want to orientate you to the calendar. This calendar is a weekly calendar, so you can actually see Monday to Friday, but it is across semester. If I'm not wrong, this is semester 1. Okay, so this is semester 1 for 14 weeks. If you can actually see the weeks here, I'm actually selecting a total of 14 weeks. If I miss out, let's say the middle vacation week, but this is how easy it is to book. If whatever you make changes, it will actually change in all the weeks. You don't have to do it week by week, all right, to actually make the reservations. So it's very, very efficient. You can actually set the different weeks that you want. You can plan by semester. You can plan for the whole year, planning also as well. All these things can be easily calibrated. Or I can just plan, look, I only just want to do 4 weeks and I just want to schedule for 4 weeks. That's not a problem also as well. Now, this system also has the ability to actually change multiple views also as well. So for example, if I split the height, I can actually see on a weekly basis also as well. So I'm going to go to the 7th of October so that I can actually see the same booking. So if you look at the one that's highlighted here, which is actually 6 bookings of this reservation, I can actually see that I have now 6 reservations on this on a weekly basis. So first week, second week, third week, fourth week, so on and so forth. If I make any changes, let's say, for example, I say one of the weeks I want to make a change to, let's say, a different time slot. So I'm going to choose this particular week and I'm going to change it to a different time slot. You can actually see now, instead of 6 modules being scheduled on a Monday from 2 to 3, I now have one that's scheduled from 4 to 5. All right, it's that simple. You just need to make the adjustments, and it's always conflict free because everything the system actually manages. So that's a very general introduction of TE Core that helps you to manage. You can see how deep it is, because you can actually set different faculties and different things. So it can be structured according to what you guys are doing. So basically making it very bespoke. On the front end, this is where you have your presentation layer. So let's say, for example, I want to actually search by timetables. Now, this is very powerful for the registrar office. You can actually search by module, offering, modules, faculty. So for example, we just recently did the MID 1001, which is basic medical science. I can easily show the reoccurring schedule for this. On a graphical layout or a text-based layout, it's very easy to actually pull up the data and to be able to display it. Now, this is also available to your staff and students. So this is the front end that the staff and students see. They can actually make they get certain details, but they can't make changes. Or if you allow them to, they can even make changes on that, making the system a lot more flexible also as well, right? For example, they can actually, let's say you empower certain lecturers, they can actually swap lecturers also as well on the fly. And once they do this, all the students that are enrolled in this class will be able to see the changes also as well. So I'll come back to here, just a few more things to show. You can also go by faculty also as well. Now, obviously, faculty is going to be a lot more busier. So I'm just going to choose, let's say, the faculty of medicine. And obviously, if you choose a faculty, it's a lot more details because it has a lot more costs. But the beautiful thing is that you actually are able to review everything in a report format. You can actually see what are the classes that are scheduled, who are teaching in this, how many students are actually targeted number, the total number of students being enrolled in the particular class. All these things can be pulled up and also can be reported on. It also has a lot of ability to show you reports. So for example, if I select a certain number of lecturers and I want to find out how many hours they are teaching, so it's easily to actually sum up the number of teaching hours that they are making also as well. So you can do this by room booking also as well. You can also find out how well the room is being utilized, how many hours the teachers are teaching, whether they've met their teaching hours. All these things can be actually reported because you actually have all these data available. Now, as I mentioned, you don't need to have this front end. You can actually integrate this into your system also as well. If you have your own publishing site, we can actually take out the information and publish it to your site also as well. It's very flexible. So this just give you an overview of the system. I've only shown you a small fraction of it, but we're hoping that this is something that could be relevant for further deeper dives for UKM. Robert, Yon, anything else you want to add?
No, as I already said in the very, very beginning, it's just an exploration. And in discussion with you, we can explore what is interesting for you, where we can help, where your pain points are and say, okay, this is how we would resolve those pain points or make it more efficient and so on.
Yeah, so maybe I want to use the time to maybe now open up for a bit of questions. Aman, from what you're seeing, is there any things that could be relevant and things that we could maybe give you a bit more information on?
Okay, so basically, first of all, I would like to say thank you for introducing. I know it's a very short time limit for you to actually introduce such a comprehensive system. Uh, it's actually quite coincidental because we are thinking about developing or introducing a better system because ours at the moment is actually quite archaic. Obviously, like Robert was correctly saying, this system does look uh, very well designed because it has taken the best practices of multiple institutions, right? So obviously, you will learn something from different institutions that run things differently. So it seems like it's flexible enough to be used in any system, right? In any university. However, and I think there's potential for a discussion on this. But if you allow me, Trevor, would you allow me to just ask my officers who actually are working with the system? For example, the person who works with the scheduling is Madam Huda, and she's been doing this for quite a while. Maybe she can, because they understand more the issues that we have with our current system. So they will ask you definite questions about, is there something that your system can solve a solution for us?
Sure,
Because
definitely.
if it doesn't offer anything new to the system that we have now, then obviously it's going to be less appealing, right?
Yes. So
So maybe
normally what we do is that we give you a kind of like a short survey. One part of the survey is to actually ask you what are the current timetabling challenges that you have. So you tell me, okay, so two things are. One is, what do you do now for your timetabling? Like, for example, we schedule, let's say 1,000 classes in how much time, and then we do this, and these are our requirements. So that's the first thing, making sure that we can meet your requirements. The second thing we ask is, what is the problems that you're facing? So for example, some could be very simple. I cannot schedule multiple lecturers in one course. I cannot do that. Or I cannot combine rooms. I also cannot do that. Can your system do that? So you collect all these requirements and you say, okay, so then one by one, we actually show you, yeah, no problem. The system can do this. The system can do this. So two things that we do lah. First is to show you that the system can achieve what you're doing now, which I suspect we definitely can. The second part is to then show you what we can do to solve your challenges that you have. So you have to tell us your challenges. So you tell us, this is the challenge. The third part, which is also quite interesting, is you tell me or you tell us, what is your wish? Because you want to build a new system that can last for the next 5 to 10 years. Nobody invests so much time into this unless it can last for the next 5 to 10 years. So the third one is basically tell us what is your vision for the future. So you tell me, right now the students cannot make choices, right, for their electives, or they cannot register for certain classes. Can your system do that? Then we say, yeah, it's possible, but you do it in different phases, right? You might want to do it later after you stabilize the system or something like that. So it's in a way future-proofing your investment into 5 to 10 years. Nobody undertakes this project for 1 or 2 years. It doesn't make sense because it's such a complicated project. It involves a lot of stakeholders. This project normally, it will last the university minimum 5 years. And all the way to 10 years, because your systems continue to grow, right? And your students, all these things are changing. So normally you would want to have these three things. The system can achieve all your current functionalities. The system can achieve all the challenges that you have that your system currently cannot do. And the third thing is that we can, in a way, future-proof so that you can expand and scale for the future. So if you can give us that kind of information, then in the subsequent session, you invite all your key people, and then we can do a bit more of a deeper demonstration for them. That'll be a pleasure to do that.
Okay, so that's good. So maybe I can just, if it's okay with you, Trevor, maybe I can just open to the floor to any of my officers that have any particular interesting questions to us, because some of them know about these systems better than I do, right? And some of them are developers anyway, so maybe they can ask you any questions. Anybody?
Sure.
Siapa-siapa daripada UKM? Any questions at all?
Dr. Irman?
Yes. Puan Huda, please.
based on the presentations from you, Mr. Trevor, it's not a question actually. When I see your presentation, so I think that maybe we can discuss it further in our department. It's very, what you call, very appealing, the system, compared to what we are having now in UKM. So it's a very, what you call, dinosaur system, can we call that? Means the seems like that. So maybe Dr. Irman and Mr. Trevor, we will have a further discussion, maybe, Dr. Irman, or
Sure.
yeah, thank you.
Sure, be
Okay.
happy to.
Okay. Anybody else?
Dr.
Hafiz?
Iman, it's me.
Yes,
Hello,
please.
Mr. Trevor. My name is Rizwan. I'm just wondering whether you can disclose this or not. You said that UM already used this this service, and I just want to know how long you and the UM working together before they can use the system.
Okay,
Just
very
the
good question.
estimated time.
Very good question. Okay, that's why I said this normally is a very long project. From us consulting with UM, that was about 2 years ago, actually. We consulted with them for 2 years, helped them to understand exactly like what we're doing with you now. We helped them to understand what their requirements is, what they want to do in the future, and then to future-proof that. That's even before they went to raise the budget and then go for tender and then of course start the whole thing. But the execution of the project is actually quite a long one because it involves us. Okay, see, the cool thing is, even though it's a SaaS solution, we customize it according for your university. So for example, you can actually see this is like this is a typical project sprint. Now, obviously, depending on the size of the university and the complexity of what they want to implement, this can be either shorter or longer, right? But in general, this is what we do, right? So we actually work with the committee. So for example, both universities, UTP and UM, they had exam team and the scheduling team. So we had a very big team that we needed to work with. So normally for the first few weeks, we will do requirements gathering, right? This is after we get the project, right? Requirements gathering is like we actually get everything that they need so that they can be very clear about what they need for the system. Then after that, we start configuring the system together with the users. So you learn. So that's very advantageous because you take a lot of ownership in owning your systems. This is perfect for you because when we actually show you how we set up the system in the future, you can modify the system according to what you need. You don't need us to actually do the implementation, but you're not building a system from scratch. That's the difference. You are using a enterprise system to build your own requirements. But of course, for the first stuff, we always help you to do that because it's a very complex system. So that's done over many multiple sprints that we will do with the teams. We will do workshop, then implementation, and then testing, workshop, implementation, and testing. At the same time, we also work with integrations with your other departments. I'm sure that we will need to pull in data from other systems. The third one, of course, is always we're testing and training together with your administrators. So depending on the university, so let's say if UKM takes a very high ownership, so I want to know how to do this system, then that's fine. We teach you how to actually set up the system yourself. So eventually you will have very little dependence on us and you can fully deploy the system for many things that you can actually use it for. You can actually use the system to book laptops and you want to book company vehicles also, you can. Anything that is an object that can be tagged can be recognized by the system and we can track it, right? So if let's say you book a whiteboard for classroom 1 with this laptop, with this laptop serial number, we can track it. And you can actually see where it's being used also as well in the system. That's how sophisticated the system is. Now, that doesn't mean we do the data for you. Obviously, you need to clean up all the data, but you do it one time. It's a one-time exercise because once you clean up all your data and that's properly managed, you don't have to redo all these things again. Everything becomes automated, after a while. So I hope that answers your question. So the project for UM was about 9 months. We took about 6 months to and then the 9th month we started to deploy live with the full integrations and stuff like this. Yeah. But of course, it can be shorter also as well. But we don't like short projects because when it's short, everybody is very stressed because you are then publishing the timetable for the school. You have to onboard a lot of stakeholders. It is way too rush. So normally our projects run for about 9 months to about a year to implement a system like this because it's a major project. It's not a small project. So I hope that gives you an idea of that. Very good question. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. More or less, we and UM are about similar in sizes and the number of students. So I can just imagine that if we proceed with this plan, the time, the duration will be like the UM also.
Yes, highly likely. Yep.
Yeah, and on addition, I just want to ask another thing. When you say that you are going to train our administrative and also our technical team, do you have, if we are going to take the system, do you have any period of time that you are going to maintain our system, or do you have the dedicated team or person for each university for the
Okay.
technical maintenance?
Very good question. I'm gonna just come to this slide. That's a very practical question that you're asking. Okay, so we are structured in such a way. We have multiple support kind of structures. Because you're subscribing to a SaaS solution, a software as a service, there are a lot of benefits that you have. First of all, you don't maintain the system. We do, right? So there's no maintenance required because it's hosted on our Google Cloud server. We actually do the maintenance. The TimeEdit global engineering team actually manages the server to make sure that it's up and running. So what is this? Why is this important? All your security patches, your upgrades and your updates is taken care of by the global TimeEdit team. You don't need to actually allocate any resources. All we do is just give you notices like say, okay, on Sunday from 4 p.m., the system will be down for 4 hours because we're going to upgrade your firmware. That's it. And then you just make sure that your things are do that. We also do all your backup and redundancy of data. That's done on our side. You don't have to worry about that. So that alleviates a lot of pressure from the IT team. So that is on the system side, okay? Maintenance of the system side is also done by our engineers from the global office. You don't have to maintain the system. So don't think about maintaining the system. All the maintenance is actually done by TimeEdit. The second thing is actually support. What is support? After we set up the system, you surely will have some questions like, hey, I tried to schedule, for example, I give you an example. You pull up the thing after we set up the thing, and then after that you select this module and you say, hey, how come my module, this one I tried to book here, it doesn't work, after that. So you do have some service support where we actually give you a bit of guidance of troubleshooting how you have set up the thing and how to make it work for you. That's a different level of support. We also do provide this kind of support also as well, because we want to make sure that you are able to use the system, right? So support issues are not system related issues. That means it's got nothing to do with the system. It's got to do with, for example, let me give you an example. Your code, there is a duplicate of this code. Maybe there's a MID 10012024 S1/1A or something like that. Then the system is very confused. Is it this course or this course? So sometimes it's not to do with a system issue. It might be to do with your data issue or something like that. That's when our support team from Singapore comes in and gives you a bit of guidance if required. But as much as possible, we will try to train and equip your team to make sure that you are fully independent of this. But system support we will do. Yeah, hope that makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor.
Yeah.
Clear.
So very flexible because a lot of universities require us to be very flexible. Some universities take a lot of ownership. Some universities don't want. In fact, that's not advisable. Some of the universities only have one system administrator, right? And then all the rest are the timetablers, which are the teachers. Very dangerous because they sometimes don't know what's happening to the system and then they rely on us quite a bit. But some universities take a lot of ownership. They know everything about their system, which is very good. Even the integrations they do themselves also as well. So they know how the flow of data is done from system to system also as well. That's very important because then you're never held hostage by one company. You actually know what's happening in totality. So we're very happy to do that also as well. Not a problem. Yeah.
And for your information, we practically update our system every week. So that makes it super stable, super reliable. Yeah, and you always have the latest version available to you, and that's basically those updates are taking place overnight. So you're not during the day. You're never well. There's never downtime basically during the day.
And you see something that you see here, which is quite interesting, right? We create different environments for testing and UAT testing, because you never want to do your implementation on production environment, right? You always want to do it safely where you actually can do the test. So the system is very flexible. We create a mirror instance on the server where you can actually do all your testing, especially for your integrations with your teacher. So this is where you can make all the mistakes you want. You're not even afraid, because that's where you do the testing. Once the testing is done, this environment is pushed to the production. So all these things we think about, you don't have to worry about that. We take care of all this in the implementation. What the university needs to spend time on is, how do I optimize everything? Now that I have a powerful system, instead of using your brain cells to think about building the system, you are using your brain cells to think about, how do I now make it a lot easier that one person can do 10 people job, that kind of thing, right? So you're making use of the system capabilities to shorten your time. That's what you're spending more time and resources on, right? You're using the time of like, hey, maybe my module offering, I need to change that, or maybe I need to actually start to tidy up my student groups, because my student groups coming in different semesters. That is very valuable time that you're using to optimize your thing, rather than building a system. Because every time you build a system, you need to test the system, and it's very, very challenging, especially when you start to put in a large amount of data. Some systems are, let's say with 5,000 students, it operates fine. Once you start to put it into multiple years and like hundreds of thousands of reservations, the whole system will start to shake, because it just can't handle that kind of load. But our systems, you can see Robert Yon is smiling, is battle tested. We have 100,000 students that are scheduling and without a problem. And you're not waiting 1-2 hours for the thing. You click a button, boom, the thing is already instantaneously scheduled for you. Yeah.
For example, we have a university with over 120,000 students, and the database consists out of multi years of scheduling data without any performance issues. So you have the historic reporting. Yeah, a timetable can look back. Okay, how was that scheduled in 2000 and whatever? Yeah, so not a problem at all.
And you can see this is a continuous timetable. For some other software, that timetable is okay. Every time, okay, so there are many of the other software is very redundant, because they make you set up an instance for the school calendar year. That means every time you schedule, it's like a year one or whatever. Our system is a continuous calendar, meaning you can have multiple years. You can even plan 10 years ahead. You can actually plan for classes also as well. It keeps all this data. So you can actually see, I can actually start in 2020 or even 2000, all the way to whenever I think, the world will continue to go on, right? So it will keep all this data for you. What does this mean? It means it makes your job a lot easier, because you have scheduling data from the previous years. You can actually roll over your reservations. So for example, if you have a reservation, very quickly, I'll just show you this one again. If you have a reservation for, let's say, a certain subject, you can actually roll over the whole list in an instant. That means, for example, this one is actually from semester 1 for these 14 weeks. If you're very lazy and you want to say, okay, most probably I will have the same thing, you can easily just select all these classes and roll over the whole thing to the next semester. That's it. And then make a few minor changes. The system makes it that easy, and then maybe you just roll over without the teachers, and then you just put in the teachers after a while. There's so many things you can do with the system that helps you. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions from our part? Okay, so I don't see any other questions, Trevor, Ajay. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the National University. I think there are, obviously at the moment, my team, we manage everything that's everything academic. It's managed by my office here in the university. So everything In terms of the operation bit, it seems that it's quite promising. But obviously, there's other factors that we need to consider. And I know you know well about this, right? The financial bit, there's so many things to discuss. But I think I agree with my officers. This will require us to do some further discussions. We also need to I think add in more people. So the people that we have now are basically all of my officers who are dealing with the academic matters here at the university. But we did actually invite some people from our IT systems, IT what do we call it here? PTM, Pusat Technology IT Center, because they do all of the development and the maintenance of our system. So we did invite some of them to come, but I don't see any of them here. So we will have to have another discussion with them. But you know what? Maybe I could. Okay, so here in this list, my data officer is Abdul Hafiz, Mr. Abdul Hafiz. So he will be in charge in understanding the system and recommendations to the university management whether or not this is something that we can pursue or not. So maybe we can liaise with him. You also CC me about steps moving forward. So I heard in your presentation the first thing that you want us to do is to fill out a questionnaire, right? Telling you what problems we have and what solutions that you can give. So maybe we can start with that. So maybe you can ask your office to send me an email and give us some time to actually populate this questionnaire, so you can see whether or not you are the right solution for our problems, and then we can move forward from there, right?
Very good.
But I think it's actually 1 year for the implementation in UM to me is actually really really good, because even if we develop our own system, that might take 2 years, and then we might need another additional 1 or 2 years to iron out the details. So if you can offer us a better solution at within a faster time frame, which is affordable. Obviously, it has to be affordable, right? We have to be able to pay for it. Maybe it could also be another route that we can look at, right? Because we are looking at our system at the moment. That's what we're doing now. So it's kind of like a really good coincidence that we have this particular presentation at this moment in time, because we're thinking about our options now. So
And
very
maybe
good.
right.
with
So yeah.
the team of UM as well. So don't believe us, believe maybe UM.
Yes, we will also do our due diligence and we'll talk to our friends there, because there might be
absolutely.
some things that are issues, but you don't tell us, but they will tell us. Obviously, we will ask them for sure. Yeah.
That would be a very good idea.
Right. It's always good to get some testimonials, right, from some other
Yes,
people.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, some of the universities that you showed on your list, I also have multiple colleagues working there as well. To Delft. Most of those universities are major universities in the world, and I have multiple colleagues there, so I will ask them as well. So you guys are using the system. Are there any issues? Is it good? We will do the due diligence on our part, but let's start step by step, right? Let's start
Well,
with the
if
questionnaire
you
first.
have a good travel budget, yeah, I'm happy to invite you to come to our conference. Then you have over 300 timetablers from all over the world together in one spot, and that's early May in Sweden.
Okay, okay. Leave me in Sweden. Okay, we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's not an issue, because
It's a possibility.
because I travel to that part of the world anyway, quite oftenly, so it's okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But uh, we need to go forward, and let's talk about the questionnaire first,
Yeah.
and then we'll think about who else we need to involve in this endeavor, and then once we really have something that's quite solid, we can then take this proposal to the higher administration and see what they think about it, because later on we'll have to bring somebody in from the finance anyway, because they will work out the numbers and stuff. But at the moment, we're lucky enough to say that money is not really a big issue for us at the moment. We have some of that for us to use. So what we really need is a system that can be efficient for us and could last for a long, long time. That's basically it.
Yeah, that's good. I think
Right.
that's what our goal is also as well. So it would be Hafiz, right? That
Abdul Hafiz.
Hafiz. Okay.
So
And
later on,
The one with the UKM logo.
yes.
okay. So you give me your email number. what I will do is that I will email everybody the slides today, as well as the recorded introduction. So at least you can review some of this. And then I'll send you the list of questions that you can provide us. I think the main thing is this. If you can just give me all your timetabling challenges that you have, I think at least if you give me a 2-hour session, we can get our technical engineer to actually walk through this. At least on the technical side, we can satisfy that we can meet your requirements. I think that's for me, the first step. But in order to do that, you can just give me a bit more information, then we'll take some time to digest that. That'll be awesome.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that'll be good. We'll do that. So I think
Yeah.
in terms of the contacting us, because you have my details already, can you
Yep.
just send all the information to me, and I'll distribute the
Can.
information to my officers, and then we'll also send back our feedback or the questions back to you from my part, from my office.
Okay. Can.
Okay.
I'll do that. Awesome.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Aman.
We have to go into another meeting.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you for Trevor,
Cheers.
Adrian, also your team.
All right.
Also, thank you very much to my officers.
Okay,
Thank you,
thanks,
Mr.
Dr.
Trevor,
Iman.
Mr. Robert.
Okay.
Thank you all officers.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.